Welcome to our little podcast called It's Hard Out Here, the show that allows you a sneak peek into the lives of two mildly unhinged individuals in their 20s trying to navigate the complexities of the modern age. My name is Hayley and I am joined by my beautiful co-host Kerri. Okay, she's not going to say hello this episode.
Hello.
In this episode, we're going to be discussing climate change, and this episode, Kez is actually going to derive the conversation. Babe, we need to get this rolling. Do you have a trigger warning for us?
Yeah. So everything we've done is our research. Again, you might not need to agree or even like what we say. But if you do have another opinion, we'd love to
Suss
hear
it out in the comments.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So slight little disclaimer there for you all.
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna get straight into it because
first they have to grab a beverage,
Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't even see this lighting. I can't see anything.
That's
I love
okay.
it.
Grab a little beverage, and dive in. What?
It's all over my pants.
You peed yourself.
Oh no.
Anyway, while you're sorting yourself out, I'll give the listeners a quick definition from the United Nations as to what climate change is. So, climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, but since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, which produces heat-trapping gases.
These shifts may be natural in the climate itself shifting. Shifts are also accelerated with catalysts. And I think a lot of people need to know before we get into this, climate change is not a seasonal change. It is more erratic and unpredictable.
It's also more sustaining.
Yeah.
Like an ice age. Because this was a major question that I have, a major argument that I saw. It's just like, it's El Nino or La Nina or El Nino.
Yeah.
And,
It's
not. Seasons. And I'm like,
it's not.
No,
it's a bit more than that.
Yeah.
So in some circumstances, we may experience severe heat or cold in the opposite season. So like yesterday, we had a
swelter of a day.
We had a stinker of a day. It was like 38 degrees, and today it was 24.
It's not even categorically summer anymore.
Yeah, it's autumn. So.
And I've got a little diagram here so if you're watching, you can have a look. Since the 1850s, there has been a consistent rise in average temperature of about 1 degree, which I know doesn't seem a lot, but like
that
when
is
you
a lot.
Take into consideration like the whole ecosystem, that is like groundbreaking shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you're looking into climate change, one of the first things I saw was the greenhouse effect.
Yeah.
And so some of you might be thinking, what is that? And so I've got another little diagram for you all, which makes things a lot easier for me to understand. Basically, the greenhouse effect is the trapping of the sun's warmth in the planet's lower atmosphere due to the greater transparency of the atmosphere to visible radiation from the sun than to infrared radiation emitted from the planet's surface. So that's just like that incoming versus outgoing. And human activity is creating increasing amount of greenhouse gases. For example, global carbon dioxide emissions from fossil fuels, and industry increased 5.3% in 2021 alone to reach a record high of 37.12
billion metric tons.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. So the ozone layer is it's almost like a protector from the sun's rays. So it's a thin part of the Earth's atmosphere that absorbs almost all of the sun's harmful ultraviolet light.
For my skincare besties, UVA and UVB. UVA is for aging, UVB is burning. Period.
Ozone holes are a popular name for areas that are damaged of the ozone layer. We do have a hole in the Antarctic region.
Is that what makes the Australian UV rays so brutal?
Yep. And that's why
I'm just gonna rest my foot on your
That's
knee.
why all the like penguins, polar bears are all struggling in Antarctica because there's an abnormal amount of heat.
Well, I guess it's like
into...
lacking that shield.
Yes, because there's no shield, essentially. Ozone layer damage is more likely a really thin patch than a hole, but it still doesn't have that thick protector.
Thick, juicy layer.
The thick layers.
Protection. Yeah.
So you can think of it kind of like as a sponge with the ozone layer. It absorbs bits of radiation hitting Earth from the sun. Even though we need some of the sun's radiation to live, too much of it can obviously be damaging.
Which I think we're going to get into a little bit when we start to discuss the consequences of climate change.
Yeah.
But first, let's discuss
how it's caused. Yeah.
Well, how it started. So
how did it start? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's still debated, but since the Industrial Revolution in 1750, human activities such as burning fossil fuels again have increased greenhouse gas concentrations in our atmosphere. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, average atmospheric carbon dioxide levels have increased from 280 parts per million to 410 parts per million in the last 150 years. As a result, the amount of heat being lost from the Earth has slowed.
Wow.
Yeah. From ancient times, people suspected that the climate of a region could change over the course of centuries. So there were ancient philosophers like how do I pronounce that? Theophrastus, a pupil of ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, which I'm sure most of you will know, in the 4th century before Christ. I don't think that's actually what that stands for, but that's how I remember it.
BC?
Yeah.
Before Christ, yeah.
No, it's like there's like a Latin term.
Oh, wow. English before Christ.
Before Christ. And he spoke about how the draining of marshes had made a particular locality more susceptible to freezing in a text by Fisher, 2015. And then also, like I was talking about before, the Ice Age, I feel like that's a great example
of the Earth heating up.
Yeah. Or one example of climate change.
Yeah. Because what melts ice, people?
The squirrel from Ice Age and his little nut.
And his little nut. Yeah.
He was my favourite character from Ice Age.
God. Did you see that thing that Pixar put and he finally got his nut?
Yay!
Yeah, it was like end of an era kind of thing.
I support that. I lie. So
human activity.
Do you want to discuss human activity?
Yeah, human activity plays a probably most of the part in climate change. In my opinion, I think we
are the problem.
I think a lot of it comes down from human activity.
Yeah.
Scientists have developed computer models which recreate the Earth's natural rate of climate change. These models use real-world data and allow us to compare the modeled rate of climate change to the climate we are experiencing today. When we compare these climates, we see that today's rate of climate change is higher than the natural rate. This is one of the ways we know that human activities are causing climate change. And
so I guess we're like seeing that direct cause and effect. Like we're seeing these direct, like these actions that humans are taking, and then an effect in the environment, and that effect is like heating up and other stuff that we'll get to.
So fossil fuel factories like that have coal, travel, technology, electronics running that are in our
running
that
like
are in
electricity, water.
Yeah, and also deforestation because trees actually absorb a lot.
Carbon. They absorb, they photosynthesize.
Yep.
They basically suck in the carbon and spit out oxygen.
Yeah, so...
Whereas we do the opposite as humans.
Yeah, so if we're getting rid of trees, there's less for us to actually... There's less in the environment to actually...
I wonder how many trees we need to counterbalance one human.
Oh my God,
Let's see. How many trees to counterbalance a human? If you add up 730 trees per person.
Roughly 7 acres of forest land.
Wow.
Oof.
Interesting.
So, yeah, deforestation is a big one. Because all that extra carbon that actually is coming from all these fossil fuels, there's nothing, it is creating another hole, but there's also not enough tree to suck it up. So it's actually going into our ocean, which is heating up the ocean.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and it's creating all these like unlivable conditions for...
Yeah. I mean, there was that thing with the Great Barrier Reef where all the coral was getting bleached
That's still a thing because of the coral bleaching.
Yeah.
Because of
the harsh UV rays.
The high
Why did
temps.
I say it like that? UV. Harsh UV rays.
The high temps of water is a big one,
yeah.
and it's also making the water more acidic as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's making it more acidic because of all these extra chemicals. But another thing, agriculture and food production. Oh my God, I can't speak today. Food production are a good one, a big one for climate change as well.
When you think about it, we have such a growing population, and then to feed us, a lot of people are meat eaters. Not me, but a lot of people are, and that means you need more meat, and then more meat means you need so many more like acres of land for these meat cows to graze on.
Yeah exactly. So I think it's probably good to talk about who is actually causing climate change. A lot of it obviously being human activity, but let's dive deeper into chemical and the underlying what is actually going to essentially make our air poisonous.
Well, when you break it down, it comes down, I found that it came down to some chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, and they are the reason we have a thinning ozone layer. A CFC is a molecule that contains the elements carbon, chlorine, and fluorine. CFCs are everywhere, mostly in refrigerants and plastic products, which humans use a lot of. Businesses and consumers use them because they're inexpensive, they don't catch fire easily, and they don't usually poison living things. But the CFCs start eating away at the ozone layer once they get blown into the stratosphere.
No wonder my breathing's bad.
Because of the chlorofluorocarbons?
I'm breathing in all that chlorine at work.
Oh.
Breathing in all of those fumes. I think a good, like, we haven't got it written down here, but I don't know if you've heard about the Willow project that's going to be in Alaska.
Didn't you mention it last week?
Yeah, so they want to sell Alaska for oil.
This comes back to the point I was just about to make as well. And that's late stage capitalism.
Yeah, so they're all like, imagine how much money we're bringing in. But they're also killing a whole entire ecosystem. And from what I saw, I can't remember the exact number. I think it was like something about, we might need to double check, but something like 2.3 metric...
I don't even know what to look up.
2.3 billion metric tons of like carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
Like if they kill all of the...
If they follow through with this project, that's how much it's going to release into the atmosphere. So
I think it's 277 million tons from what I can see. Yeah.
Okay, 277 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That is so much.
Yeah. And I also, with the going back to the chlorofluorocarbons and like those like things that people buy, it's kind of about consumerism in that it's just another way to make money. Like, it's inexpensive, they don't catch fire easily, and like I am all for making money, but girl, you are not gonna make any money if you're dead.
Yeah. Well, they said if this goes ahead, we only have like climate change will be irreversible.
Yeah.
Like, we cannot, it doesn't matter what we like try to do, nothing will fix it. But the government's not going to fix it anyway. They didn't give a flying shit about the climate, about us, about the future generations, Greta Thunberg.
Well, I mean, look at the whole Gulf of Mexico.
The BP
oil
the BP
spill.
Oil spill, yeah.
Like, that whole situation was an absolute
shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, and that's another example of like consumerism and how that plays into I guess climate change. And that was actually, if I ended up doing criminology as a degree, I was actually going to do how like environmental crime, corporate crime, and state crime are all intrinsically linked.
Yeah.
Because the state enables corporations who are creating the environmental crime.
Yep.
So something interesting to think about. Yeah.
So Renaissance Europeans and later scholars saw that deforestation, irrigation, and grazing had altered the lands around the Mediterranean since ancient times. They thought it plausible that these human interventions had affected the local weather. Good one, farmers.
So I guess that kind of plays into the idea that it's always like, it's been something that's been happening for a while, except now we have the resources to identify that it's happening.
Yeah.
So over the last century, burning of fossil fuels like coal and oil has increased the concentration of atmospheric carbon dioxide, CO2. This increase happens because the coal or oil burning process combines carbon with oxygen in the air to make CO2. To a lesser extent, clearing of land for agriculture, industry, and other human activities has increased the concentrations of greenhouse gases. So we know due to the isotropic fingerprint, trees store information about the climate in the place where they're rooted. So that was like, I was kind of looking into it and being like, yeah, but how do they know it's humans? And like, one way that they find out is like they literally look into the fingerprints of trees. So when you cut a tree, I think it's like each year they have a ring. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that can, like, that fingerprint can tell you a lot.
Yeah.
About
exactly. Yeah.
The environment.
Yeah. Exactly. We're going to be a little bit more bleak and a little bit more...
Should we panic? In short, yeah.
So, should we be panicking? Are people not panicking enough?
This is our fear-mongering section.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are super arrogant when it comes to climate change because, once again, I think it comes down to that. They're uneducated in the topic. And
my dad's actually reading a great book by Sir David Attenborough about...
legend.
About climate change and the environment at the moment, which I think is a really accessible resource for people to go and look at.
What book is it?
I can't remember. But it's Google David Attenborough and environment. I'm sure something will come. Although it's all about the environment.
He is environment.
Maybe climate change and David Attenborough.
So, sorry. Our weather systems are being affected. Patterns of rain, winds are changing, extreme weather events, heat, extreme coldness, snowing in places that probably didn't have snow.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I think that's a major problem because, like, look at the whole... Do you remember in COVID when Texas had that blizzard?
Yeah.
That's not meant to happen.
That is not meant to happen.
They were not prepared for that because they're usually such a warm climate.
It is
Their
hot,
pipes were exploding due to the ice because it just wasn't made to accommodate that climate.
Yeah, exactly. So these are increasing frequently and intensely as well. It's like us with those major bushfires in 2020.
Yeah.
Of course, Australia is known to have a big bushfire season.
Yeah,
but
sometimes it is good, but like...
Not to that intensity, though.
There was so many koalas, kangaroos that got wiped out.
Yeah, so many of them.
And also,
I think it's good that we didn't have a bushfire season this year.
Oh my gosh, yes,
we haven't had one, and I think that's a clear indication that weird things are happening.
Strange things
are happening, definitely, because of these erratic...
I felt like this. Strange things happen. Are you going around the twist? A more like definitive way to understand whether we should be panicking is by looking at the doomsday clock. Currently, we have 90 seconds to midnight. This is due to climate change, but also the war in Ukraine. But this is saying that, yes, we are very close to the end of the world. That's all.
That's so sad. So what does 90 seconds to midnight mean? It means...
So basically there's like this clock, right? And there's like a global panel that meets, I believe it's annually, to see what time it is, basically. And the closer it is to midnight, the less time we have left.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. We have 90 seconds.
Oh my God. Fuck me dead.
And that's the closest it's ever been.
Yeah. And that, like...
Even, I think it was even closer than the Cold War.
Fuck me. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Oh my God. So, a lot of probably what that doomsday clock is reading is global ice caps melting. Sea levels rising.
I guess air pollution as well.
Air pollution, pollution in general, light pollution, everything. I don't think people realize how much light pollution actually affects the climate.
Wow. How so?
Because it's so bright that they don't know if it's day or night.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like things are out of whack.
Well, yeah, I guess animals who are like nocturnal and stuff wouldn't be able to function
things
properly.
are literally out of whack. Like light pollution is so bad. So if you do not need to use your lights,
turn them off.
Like literally turn them off.
Yeah.
Like if you don't need to use it, or even like instead of using electrical, fucking battery powered lights or something. Boom.
We have LED lights.
Or LED lights, solar panel, lots of issues. But La Nina and El Nina, which
La
Nina, which is what we spoke about before. But that's one extreme to the other extreme. Severe cold, severe hot. These aren't meant to happen a lot, and everybody that says...
I thought they were just like naturally occurring cycles.
They are, but they're occurring more frequently and erratically. And people they happen all the time. We're going through an El Nino pattern. But what is actually causing this El Nino pattern to happen at the opposite time of the year?
Right. So it's like happening at the wrong time.
It's happening at the wrong times. It's happening too much as well. They generally the reason it's happening is because there's so much chemical and heat and everything. It's just messing up the
vibes.
Yeah, it's literally messing up the climate.
Yeah.
But volcanic eruptions, as an example, emit particles that temporarily cool the Earth's surface, but they have no lasting effect beyond a few years. events like El Nino
La Nina, la 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 Nina.
also work on fairly short and predictable cycles. On the
Yeah.
other hand, the types of global temperature fluctuations that have contributed to ice ages occur on cycles of hundreds of thousands of years.
And I guess that answers my question.
They may
like,
never happen again.
yeah, like
Yeah.
why? Like, how do we know it's not La Nina or El Nino? And because like this is a very slow, gradual process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, because I just remembered we were just talking about the book by Sir David Attenborough. I actually found a quote by him which I thought I wanted to share with you all, and that is the scientific evidence is that if we do you want me to do it in my Sir David Attenborough voice?
Yeah. Go on.
The scientific evidence is that if we have not taken dramatic action within the next decade, we could face irreversible... Sorry, my throat's dry. We could face irreversible damage to the natural world and the collapse of our societies. We're running out of time, but there is still hope. Sir David Attenborough. But, like, that was very serious.
You know what? I wonder what Sir David Attenborough feels about like the Willow Project right now.
Yeah, Sir David Attenborough, if you're listening, girl, give us a comment.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got this little diagram here. There are multiple lines of evidence that show that the climate system is changing.
Yes.
All right. So
And for those listening, we'll try our best to explain it to you.
yeah. So glaciers and ice sheets going
Down, down like a merry-go-round. And sugar, we're going down swinging.
literally. So they're going into the Arctic sea ice. Sea surface temperatures are rising. The sea levels are rising as well because of obviously the
Ocean heat.
ocean
Rising.
heat. Yeah, everything else going into the ocean. And that is also the temperature heating is obviously causing ocean acidification, which comes with your coral bleaching.
Yikes.
Which is that I cannot remember what it's called. But basically the outer shell of coral turns white. Once it's white, it can never goes back.
Yeah. And I guess that heat is changing the southern ocean currents because that's what is causing the movement.
Yep.
And then changing rainfall patterns, which number of hot days per year increase, number of cold days per year obviously decrease, intensity and frequency of extreme weather events like fires and floods are also increasing. And what will all this, what will it like, and who will be affected by this? Firstly, the economy, because let's just talk about travel, for example. If climates are changing and it's causing the environment to be unlivable, then obviously you're not going to be able to travel there.
Yep.
It's going to affect people and animals. So in food, in
Australia
comfort.
has a very big meat production as well. So just imagine if the air becomes, toxic and animals die. What are we going to eat?
Well, there goes our economy because we can't
literally
trade meat.
Yeah. Also, a big one for the economy is the fish industry. We have massive, massive salmon farms.
Same
in
with New
Tasmania.
Zealand.
Yeah, Tasmania. And the sea is probably everything is bad at the moment, but the sea is what is a big issue, not just because of climate change, but there is overfishing as well.
Yeah,
people
and then that's throwing off the
not care.
The what is it? Why have I gone blank? That's throwing off the equilibrium of the what is it called? Ecosystem. The ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so I've got another quote for you. The equator, as climate change occurs, that central part of the world becomes increasingly uninhabitable. Inhabitable. It becomes inhabitable. That's the quote.
Yeah. So there'll be a time where people are going to be directly affected. We are
Yeah.
the main thing that's going to be affected via
I guess,
people,
yeah.
the economy.
I
If
think-
people are affected, the economy is going to be affected, everything. Or the economy is going to affect the people.
I feel
Same
like
thing.
animals are affected first, but as like humans generally don't care about anything but themselves. So
They don't give a shit. Yeah.
I think it's important to focus on the fact that humans will be affected drastically by climate change.
Yeah. Not only is they going to run out of food, but their health is going to decline because the air is going to become so...
Toxic.
It's going to become so toxic. The earth is going to become so hot we
And
can't
it's
go
happening
outside.
so quickly that we're not going to be able to evolve quick enough to it.
No, like normally I'm pretty good in the heat, but like these days I don't know if it's because maybe my work environment has really kind of made me not like the heat as much. So
It's always
that's a
like-
bit iffy.
It's also like hot being around chlorine. Like it's always stuffy.
It is. Yeah, I think my health has declined, which is a good example being around chemicals and heat.
Not ideal.
My
though.
health is declining. That could happen to the planet. That is happening to the planet.
Oh,
Actually. But I think one thing that gets really overlooked is, again, the sea. Like, I don't think anyone realizes how much the sea is affected with climate,
Yeah.
with everything. Because, like I said, if there is not enough trees, all those chemicals are going to go straight into the ocean. They heat everything up.
Yeah.
It creates toxic environments, ocean acidification, areas that shouldn't be hot for certain species become too hot. They can't
Yeah,
live.
and then I guess like the ecosystem again
Yeah.
changes because like there are like
Yep.
land animals or
Yep.
air animals that kind of interact with the sea animals,
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
gonna start to have a trickle
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, and like another, like, just to umbrella off that, it doesn't help that we have such an issue with overfishing as well. Fishermen, like the people that go out and do it for like whaling, for example, they do not care that they are potentially killing.
Don't even get me started
They
on whaling.
they are killing keystone species.
Yeah.
So if a main,
top of the big ball
a main, like obviously in the sea, main keystone species, great white shark, the
Yeah.
main predator. If sharks go, then there's going to be an increase of what they eat.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be
A decrease in-
yeah,
yeah.
there's so in the end there will just be one of more of something, and that is jellyfish. When
so cute.
when everything disappears in the ocean, we will be overrun by jellyfish. Jellyfish,
Slay.
they survive, they thrive in pollution. That's their breeding ground.
Oh my
They
gosh.
love the heat. They have no direct predators. Their food source is very minimal.
I want to be reincarnated as a jellyfish.
Yeah, we will be, because like their main predator, jellyfish, a turtle. Turtles are very endangered.
Right.
And that's why you hear about turtles eating plastic bags, because
Yeah.
they think they're jellyfish.
Right.
And that all that pollution in the ocean, of course, microplastics.
Mm.
I don't think anyone realizes how much microplastic you eat on a daily basis.
Do I eat any as a vegetarian?
100% you would. Do you eat eggs?
Not really. I don't love eggs,
Do you
but
like
I
do
do
you
eat
like
some.
dairy?
Yeah, I eat a
Yeah.
lot of cheese.
Yeah. A lot of that has microplastics in it, because think about the food source that is eating something, and that food source might have microplastics in it. So you've probably got a lot less microplastics in your body than what I do. Because I'm a carnivore. I eat a lot of everything, but a lot has microplastics in it. And that pollution obviously it's affecting the chemical balance in the water as well. It's releasing things into the water. It's becoming unsustainable.
Yeah.
It's really,
Well-
the sea is sad.
Let's kind of move on from this sad, horrible
And think about ways to
ways
stop
we can
it.
change. Yes.
Ways we can stop
So,
it.
firstly, let's halve carbon emissions, girls. We need to do this by 2030, and we need to be at 0 carbon by 2050. Electricity production is 25%, which we need to move to renewables. So, hydro, solar, wind. Solar power is now the cheapest power in 60 countries. Transport sector is a big aspect of this. We need to move, try to move to battery powered, maybe hydrogen vehicles. Air transport is kind of challenging to resolve. So recently the world's first fully electric aeroplane made it over the channel. Hybrid passenger aircraft are being tested as well.
The electric cars and stuff like that, good, but think about how expensive electricity is.
Yeah. And it's
That's the
also
issue.
electricity also isn't great for the environment either.
No, it's not. I mean, it's probably better than fossil fuels, but it's...
Yeah, but to create electricity it still creates a lot of pollution.
Yeah.
So how can we address that? Reforestation. We need to be planting trees.
Yeah.
We need to
I
be
agree.
sucking that carbon out of the atmosphere. And to try and reduce electricity, also try and insulate your house, reduce the number of things you buy and make it last. So I love this idea of thrifting, repurposing, upcycling. That's great stuff. We love to see it. Try and eat everything you buy, avoid air freight food, reduce meat and dairy, beef and lamb. But this kind of...
That kind of shifty. I think that goes into a vegan and kind of thing, because if we have
vegan conspiracy.
if we have too many livestock, they are the biggest contributor to climate change.
I did read somewhere that cow farts were
methane.
quite a big contributor.
They are a massive contributor. So vegans, if you are listening and you want us all
that
to
is
stop,
not the sole
if you want us to
solution.
all stop eating meat, we're gonna die tomorrow. I
think less meat is the answer.
I don't think, it's necessary to cut out cow and livestock out of your diet, because
but also the amount of
climate is gonna be fucked up.
the amount of food they eat though is...
Think about their herbivory as well. Herbivory is a big part of climate change as well, and deforestation. Herbivores eat the land.
But then if we're eating a lot of meat, then they need...
if they're goats, they eat plastic sometimes.
Okay, so eat more goat, guys.
No.
But I would say try to eat less cows, because they still they eat a lot of land. But then if we're eating more meat, then that's going to mean more cows. You see what I mean? Because supply and demand.
Yeah, it kind of all works.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a bit dicey. I'd have to do more research into that specifically. Locking people back down.
I want to be in lockdown. I don't want to be anywhere.
Well, the environment, from what I heard,
it
came
improved
leaps and bounds during 2020.
They said that the hole in the ozone actually...
She pieced out. She left. She exited the chat.
She shrunk. And I was so fucking happy about that. I reckon we need to do that. Personally, I'd love it. My introverted
Me
self.
too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Also penalizing the rich, like Kylie Jenner, Taylor Swift, taking their airplanes,
taking their freaking jets.
Yeah,
Why do they
for
need them?
40-minute drives, whatever. No,
40-minute
2-minute plane rides,
Yeah.
40-minute drives or whatever. Insane. My dad calculated when we went to Melbourne that it was we created, I think it was 40-something kilos of carbon in a commercial plane.
Yeah.
Each. Imagine what it would be for a private jet. Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Treaties. That's another really important one. We need to be in this globally, internationally.
Yeah.
And that means China, you're going to have to get on board. Watch us get banned now that I mentioned the CH word.
Anyways, I do moving on from that, real touchy
CH subject.
I do have this book here.
Yes.
It's called
Lift it up.
It's
Yeah.
called I don't know if you can see that in our green foresty lighting.
Yeah, in our green
but it's,
earth themed
yeah,
light.
it's called How to Unfuck the Planet. A little bit each day. This book is good, which is
Does it say kill humans?
basically. It was from my boyfriend's mother.
That is so
thank
cute.
you. So this book kind of just has little things that you could do
Okay, read us some.
right now
Read
to
us.
kind of just stop.
Get some fresh air.
Hold on. Let me purge your phone collection.
I don't
Okay.
think I have one.
If you've got a collection of old cell phones
I've
sitting
done
in
that.
the drawer or lurking in your garage, it's time to purge those suckers for good. The US Environmental Protection Agency estimates that 35,000 pounds of copper and 774 pounds of gold can be recovered from every million cell phones that are recycled. Lovely.
I have actually planned a green funeral.
Plan a
Yeah.
green funeral.
I either want to be turned into a diamond or composted.
Yeah, or like ashes into a tree. Boom.
No, but like, you know, they can compost your dead body in some places now.
Hell yeah. I want to be a plant.
Yeah.
I want to do my
Like, imagine
part.
being like a
Yeah.
nice oak tree or something.
Yeah.
Say no to animal exploitation. We love that.
Yeah. Stick to the path. What's that? Love nature. Well, one of the best ways to love nature is to stick to the designated path while hiking in national parks, forests, and nature reserves.
So as not to trample any extra.
Sorry, the inverts. Sorry, invertebrates. We're going to kill you. Those trails are there for good... Are there for a good reason.
Yeah.
Oh my god. They allow humans to enjoy natural areas while minimizing impacts to vegetation and wildlife.
That is very cute.
Walk instead. I would love to walk, ride a bike to work, but I work
You'd be riding for days.
way across the planet. Support upcycled clothing brands.
Yeah, we mentioned that one.
Yeah, become a plant person.
I love plants. The air in my room got so much fresher since getting
Yeah.
hyper fixated on plants.
Yeah, plants are good. Plants are really good. You don't necessarily need flowers. Flowers may be good for your backyard so that, you know, our bees are safe because Australian bees are very, very protected at the moment. Did you know
Are they?
that? Yeah, because all the other honeybees around the world actually have this parasitic mite that attach themselves to them and they can't produce honey, they can't
the
breed.
bees.
Yeah, they get lethargic and they just die. Australian honeybees are the only ones that don't have that mite yet.
Okay,
on
slay,
that.
we're superior.
Yeah, so we've got to protect our bees are very, very important. So plant your flowers
I would love to
in
be
your
like
backyard.
a beekeeper when I get my own house.
Yeah, I bought my dad a
Farm.
like a little bee hive thing, and you put
so
like the
cute,
seeds
yeah.
in it, and it attracts the bees, and they come over. I'm literally.
I think one of our family friends has
Yeah,
one.
like I'm very, very funny, but I'm actually kind of scared of bees. But like, if there was a bee.
If there were to be.
If there were bees around, like, I'm not going to go there and start, like, fucking smacking them and killing them.
Yeah, no.
I'm a bit scared of them because I've been stung by them
Oh,
too
dear.
many times. But
I've never been. Knock on wood.
they've all been on my feet. I've fucking stepped
Oh
on
my
them.
gosh.
Both
Not
of
the
them.
dogs.
Not
Bees
my
on dogs.
my dogs.
So Kaz is going to leave us with a nice little tidbit.
Yeah. So what will happen?
Oh, we forgot to discuss what's going to
Oh,
happen.
what will happen if nothing is done?
I love how the only point that I've put down is
Donald Trump
denies
denies climate change. He does, and a lot of politicians do, because all they think about is money. All
Yeah.
they think about is
Late
the
stage
money.
capitalism.
Vote the Greens.
Yes, I will be voting the Greens.
I love the Greens.
Yeah.
I vote them.
Me too.
Yeah. Sometimes I vote myself.
You have a party?
If I make one on the ballot. So in short, if nothing is done, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
We will die.
We will die. Everything will die.
Yeah.
And we'll have to move to
Mars.
Mars.
And that's not really an option right now.
And
Despite
I
Elon.
don't really want to go there. Oh my god, Elon Musk.
I want to go there, but I want to go there
He's
alone.
another issue.
Oh my god, yeah.
So anyways, climate change is a serious matter which I believe that many people struggle to understand the meaning of. Older generations.
Yeah.
Older
Yeah.
generations. Arrogant.
Yeah.
People are uneducated around this topic because I believe that they are scared to know the truth or the
I don't understand why older people are that scared. It's not like they're going to live to see the impact.
Yeah, and it's us that are scared because obviously it's going to affect us
Yeah.
directly, and then it's like, I want to have a life, I want to have kids, I
Yeah.
want to have a future kind of thing. So if climate change is to worsen, the world will decline in many ways. People are saying it's El Nino, like what I said before, but it is actually causing these patterns, as I said before, climate change. The underlying issue is the shift in climate. The planet has something called the ozone layer, which is protecting our planet from the sun rays and anything around the atmosphere. So with the greenhouse gases, pollution, light pollution, all the other factors we spoke about, our ozone layer will deplete and it will thin out, and we will be exposed to these harsh temperatures.
And burn to a crisp.
Our seas will slowly start to rise and heat up, and will we flood first? Will we get vaporized first?
Incinerated.
Will we run out of food first? It's also a big thing that we are severely overpopulated as well. So everything is working double time and a half, including all those factories, the deforestation for new houses. So they are our main issues, which we need to think of a smarter way of living.
Absolutely.
If I'm being completely honest with you. Look, even if you do want to help in some way, it doesn't need to be something huge where you cut, your whole entire car out of your whole life, because
It's a bit extreme.
you do have to go to places until you figure out.
It's about the little things we can do, but like at the end of the day, a lot of people, like, it's the 1% also who's making such a big contribution to it.
Yeah.
So
As little as picking up a piece of rubbish. Every time I go somewhere and I see rubbish, I put it straight in the bin. Another good one is deleting any unwanted emails to lower your carbon footprint. So
how does that work?
deleting any emails, lower your carbon footprint.
How does that work?
I don't know the detail of that one actually. No, but I learnt that in a lecture.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Is it because like it takes less energy to store the emails on servers?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, so we'll have to
power.
look into that one a bit more. But I do know that does help reduce your footprint.
I was going to suggest actually going onto www.footprintcalculator.org. We're not sponsored. I just find this a great tool to really grasp how you're contributing to climate change.
Yeah.
It's something that I did in school, and I used how many Earths did I use? Like 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take me, if everyone lived like me, we'd need like 4 Earths. Kez was like 5 Earths.
Yeah, mine was 4 point something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to go and look at that.
Yeah.
But thank you for I
just want to say Kylie Jenner was like 21 Earths
which I thought was surprisingly low.
Averaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just
By the way.
our quick little insight.
It's not shade or tea.
Just something just a little.
And we end up on Kylie Jenner's like Instagram story. Who are these bitches?
Lawsuit.
We're being sued.
if China doesn't get to us first, that is.
Oh my god.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Do you know what we're talking about next week?
I reckon, are going to be talking about some queer culture next week.
We haven't defined this. We haven't like figured out the specifics.
Yeah, we're going to go into details, but it will be queer culture.
So all you allies out there, be sure to tune in. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us on this absolutely joyful episode today.
Yeah, it's a bit bleak today, a bit morbid, but what can we do?
But
thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Go follow us. It really helps us if you go and follow us on Spotify. It helps with the algorithm. Like us. Follow us, comment, tell us what you think. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah. What kind of stuff do you want to hear from us? Do you want to be a guest? Let us know. We've got a form for that in our little link tree. And yeah, today we came to slay, we stayed to gay.
No, we didn't.
I did.
I didn't. Wait. We came to gay, but we stayed to slay. Wait. Is that what we say every week?
I say it every week.
Is it the other way around? Wait, I'm confused.
I came to slay. I stayed to gay.
Okay, all right, yeah. Came to slay, stayed to gay. Ally.
Next week we next week we really will be coming to slay, staying to gay. We came to slay, stayed to gay. Yeah.
We're confused.
Anyway, that was this week's episode of
It's Hard Out Here. Mwah. Button. Ooh. Like.